Welcome to the video. Thanks for watching. In this video, we're going to do the breakdown of the series between the Rivermen and Huntsville Havoc, but doing things a little different. Got ourselves a special guest here to help us with the Havoc portion of things with Mr. Zach Starry, good friend of mine. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right into it.
Well, I'm Zach. A lot of you guys seen figures. You get to kind of see a face to go along with it now. Um, been a Havoc fan since 2018 season. Um, was a grew up a fan. Grew up across the river in Pekin. But I think my Rivermen fanhood kind of went out the door when the Blues sold them to Utica. So I started over fresh after the move, and really the kids got into it. So, just being a good dad, you follow along with the kids. So it's not that I despise the Rivermen or hate them or nothing like that. I'm happy for them. I'm happy hockey stayed in Peoria. That was what was really awesome to see.
Right.
But Havoc fan now, so
Right. Which that's all understandable. That seems to be, how most fans feel. You've definitely had some Rivermen fans that stopped following the team after the team got sold. So it was one of them unfortunate things. I still stayed a Blue fan, and there's Rivermen fans pissed at me for still being a Blues fan. So you know how that goes.
oh,
But anyways, we're just gonna get right into this, you guys, and we're gonna start out here, and I'm gonna ask Starry a question. So, in your opinion, when you think Havoc hockey, what stands out in your mind first?
family. Man, we just had this conversation earlier on a podcast that I think what makes the Havoc um, stand out to all the fans is just it's a community. It's not just the booster club gets involved with us. The team itself has the Chaos Kids Club, allows the kids to get out and pick up chuck pucks and have parties and stuff like that. So I mean, it's a community, and shout out to Mr. Sean McCarthy. He runs the fan cave. Um, he keeps it very inviting, and he's always on there active and trying to bring us all together. And just during this playoff run alone, he was organizing, pregame dinners because they wouldn't let us tailgate. All meet at City Cafe and eat for the game. Just stuff like that. He keeps us all together, and it's a nice little community to have. Where it reminds me of the old ECHL Rivermen, how everybody was together and the team was involved with the fans. The fans were involved with the team, and it wasn't so pulled apart. So
Mm.
that's why I became, stuck with the Havoc, as it reminded me of the good old days. And being living down here, I wasn't going to get to watch Riverman hockey again. So that's not to say that what goes on now up there is, you know, a total, AHL show. That was when it got bad. But
Yeah.
to see Riverman fan base just like the old Riverman fan base is exactly why I love it down here with them.
Yeah, and I really love that answer too. And again, it just goes to show why I respect Havoc so much. Like I said, they do remind me. I do see a lot of similarities between Havoc's game and Riverman's game. And like I said, I was always drawn to Havoc. That was like actually one of the first teams I was drawn to outside of the Rivermen. They caught my eye. Just the way they play the game, and hearing you describe the family atmosphere. It's pretty much how I feel about the Rivermen too. Just the tight knit group that we have down there in Peoria between the season ticket holders and the players and the staff and everything that goes along with it. It really kind of like what you said about the Havoc. It's like a second family, a family atmosphere, great place to take your kids. I mean, this is just, it's hockey at its best. And honestly, I can't think of a better matchup in the finals, honestly, than between these two teams. Just so much respect for both organizations. So with that being said, where do you think the Havoc has the biggest advantage over the Rivermen in this upcoming series?
Um, it's probably the opposite of what Rivermen have the biggest advantage, and it's youth. These guys don't know the big moment, and they've shown it all season long where they play against a big team that should just, dominate like they dominate every other team. And we saw evidence of that when Rivermen and Havoc played several times this season. This team just doesn't know the big moment. They don't know when to quit. They don't know. They don't have that feeling. They just keep going and keep going. And just like I know your answer for the Rivermen's going to be, experience. Ours is inexperience, and normally that's a bad thing. But this team, there's just something about them. They're clicking, and there hasn't been a doubt in my mind since I don't know, probably the new year that this team didn't have it. I mean, I make the joke that they must play a lot of 2K together because they just know right where they're at. You
Uh,
know,
yeah,
they're
that's true. Like I said, that's another good answer because I do believe in the young talent that Havoc have. Like I said, one of my favorite players, and I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Starry. I don't think he started the year with you guys. Maybe he did, but that Buster Larson, did he start the year with you?
got him in a trade. He's been there for a while, but I'm not good on the dates. But I know we got him in a trade, for future considerations and stuff like that. Which we joked that he was so worth the washing machine. So
Yeah. That that future considerations, man, they get traded more so than anybody else. I swear, you don't even have to look at it. It's like somebody was traded. Let me guess. Future considerations. I swear, every time. And yeah, you're pretty much right on my answer, pretty much right on the money. I was going to say, we lean heavy on the veteran and championship experiences with your players like JMP, Jordan Ernst, Zach Wilkie, Alec Hageman. These guys have been there, done that, know what it takes to win a championship. And they just mesh so well together and just a great collection of talent. It's really a great collection of a veteran rookie mix because you think of the younger players too, like Mike Gillette and Caden Cahill, and it's just a really nice collection of younger people. Tristan Trudell coming up, which I know people joke about him being the coach's son, but you know he does have true talent, and is talented enough to play at the SPHL level and start 100%. Just he gets a little crap because he's coach's son and he plays a little physical to say the least, and he has made some undisciplined type moves in the game. But again, he's still a rookie, very young in the game, trying to make a name for himself. So I think that'll calm down over time. Not so much him being physical, but the undisciplined stuff. I think that'll calm down over time with him. But yeah, you pretty much answered my question for me with that. Which brings me to my next question, and this is excluding goalies. But who are your three players to watch out for? Like if you're a Riverman fan that really don't know the Havoc that well, like who are you saying as a Havoc fan? These are the players you want to watch out for, and why?
um, I mean, it's pretty much if you've been following it, Buster Larson's. I mean, he's just a tank. He is. Um, he probably be one if you're not counting goalies, number one star on the team. Um, but I'd watch out for any our defense. I'm not going to say just one player, but our defense. They are a really good, close knit group. They don't make a lot of mistakes. And then the third person on there is just our captains. Again, I'm not naming players. I'm knowing what to watch out for is you watch out for that leadership. We lost Dom, like 10 games left in the season, and haven't had a true captain on the bench. But the guys wearing the A's on the chest with Fisher, Clark, Pearl, those guys have stepped in and during the game they've been active participants, keeping the guys going. And I really think that was really evident in game 2 against Roanoke. I mean, down 5-0, it's easy to pack it in, and that just goes back to like young kids don't know the big game; they just play.
Right.
Um, there's a death sentence, and you get one, you're like, well, we're just off the schneid. They get 2, they get 3, they get 4. And literally, if there was maybe 5 more seconds on the clock, Fisher hits that last one to tie up the game. It was just he rushed it because there was 0.6 seconds left. I mean, I really think that that team, they didn't lose that game. I posted it, the Vince Lombardi quote, they didn't lose, they ran out of time. And I really feel like that's how guys just, there's not really three players on the team I'd say watch out for. Um, we were talking today about what players we would tag to keep, and you name your 13 guys, and then still 3 or 4 more guys. You're like, crap, I forgot about them. It's the best all around team I've seen Havoc have, and I think that is why they are so successful. It's not a Ty Ninkovich scoring a bunch of goals. It's not Tyler setting him up for goals. It's game a new player arises and it just becomes the stud. I mean, game 3. You had they benched Reggie because of his eye, put in post was the first goal of the game. I mean, the guy hasn't played all postseason, puts a goal in first game on the ice. I mean, so everyone's contributing.
Yeah.
There's not really one person you can key on and say, hey, we'll shut him down and shut the Havoc down. They're a team.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I complete and that just goes to play on, like I said, on these two teams being similar, because I know you could when you narrow it down like that and you say, like, name a certain amount of players, and then you name them and there are good 3 players to name, and then you're like, well, shit, I should have named this guy, this guy, this guy too. And it says, so it's kind of like the same problem with the Rivermen in a way. It's really hard to even answer my own question and pick 3 players. I know that's typically how it's done. You pick the 3 players to watch for, but kind of like what you said again with the Havoc defense. I think it's been evident leading up to the playoffs and in the playoffs how well Riverman's team defense and special teams been playing from everybody, because we started with basically a whole new defense besides Zach Wilkie. So it was kind of an unknown going into the season, and these guys have really clicked and meshed well. We've made some difficult decisions along the way, getting rid of like Dale Dion and stuff like that, but it's really bolstered this team, kind of brought that youthful exuberance, if you will, and so like I said, kind of like what you said, it's hard to name, but I'm going to give this a go. And I'm going to say one to watch for is obviously our captain Hags going into the final. This is it. He is done. There is no retire again. Trust me when I say Hags is done after this. So he's obviously going to be a key factor. He's going to be looked to be involved, in raising the cup and leading his team to the cup. So he's one to watch. And I also highlighted Alec Bear. Now, he only has 1 goal in the playoffs, but he has 9 assists in the playoffs. So this man's distributing the puck well, playing well, skating well, doing all the little things without the puck on his stick well. That sets the team up to be in good positions to score goals and, take a lead or win a game. And I'm also going to say J.M. Pietrowski. Now, that he's just been red hot lately. He's everywhere on the ice. He's getting more physical, but staying disciplined. He's not one to fight. He will fight, but usually he's not the one to start it unless your name's Connor Fries. Then he might start it. But, he's just one of those. You don't think of JMP as being a physical player per se, but the man can be physical, and he's good on puck battles and board battles, and he just has a nose for the puck. So those are my 3 players to watch for. Again, I could sit here and list the whole damn roster pretty much, just like I'm sure you could with the Havoc, and be like, these guys all deserve recognition for the hard work they put in.
And up. I mean, yeah, you can't really double team one guy because the guy you leave open is deadly.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what I think is going to make this series so special and so much fun. Which does lead me into my next question. What are your thoughts on this goalie matchup with former Havoc goalie Latinovich and current Havoc goalie Robinson? How do you think that matchup compares, and what do you think of their individual talents?
First off, I mean that just goes to show you that the eyes that Glenn had when he had these 2 guys as his 1 and 2 last year to start the season, and it was a tough call to trade Nick away, but at the time his future looked bright in the ECHL. No one thought he was going to come back to the SPHL. So we had Max ready to come back, and it was an easy call at that point. Trade him off to Macon, and get Mike and Max in here and all that stuff. And of course, we lost Mike shortly after that to a call up. So, but we back, and Mike is a really good goalie. He's very disciplined. Nick has really matured this year from what we saw in Huntsville last year. He was a really good goalie, but I think he has really learned in the last season and stepped up his game. I think this goalie matchup is going to be a good one. I don't think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to show up to any of these games whether it goes 2 or 3 and watch a blowout. I don't think none of these goalies have that in them to give up a lot of goals. I don't think any of the defense has that heart in them either. It can happen, but I think this is going to be one of your best finals goalie matchup. I think the Rodebush Stewart last year was good. And this might be biased in my point that these are both Havoc goalies, but just watching them both play this year, had Mike played the whole season, you would have had a 3-way tie, I think, at first for best goalie of the season.
Yeah, and honestly, there's so much that could have happened when you think of that, and you think of goalies like Cole Cece. Where would Cole Cece's name be if he played a full season with Thunderbolts and didn't stay so long in the ECHL? So that is an interesting point. Like, where would Mike be in that conversation if he's been with the Havoc the whole time playing and starting? I see a good goalie in Robinson. Probably one of my biggest things on that I've noticed, and it's not much because I'm not saying he's bad at it because he's good all the way around, but sometimes he has trouble with his rebound control, and I think that's. But you could say the same about Latinovich too. So, sometimes their rebound control can get a little wonky and they can leave a fat one out for someone to chip in the net. But, for the most part, those are two strong tenders. And if you put a solid team defense in front of them like Havoc and Rivermen got, good luck scoring goals, pretty much.
Same goes for Brian Wilson. I think we would still be in the same spot if Wilson was our starting goaltender. I think our team's just that good. I think Brian's that good. It makes it for a hard decision who's my starting goaltender going into the finals or going into the playoff run. But I think Mike was the guy you brought back for these situations. I think that was the call. But Brian in game 2 and kept everyone feeling like the game was not out of reach. I think that we have the best 1-2 goalie punch. So if something does happen, we got Brian coming right in, and it doesn't matter if he comes in cold or starts a game. It's still going to be a good goalie man, a good goalie.
Yeah, and I do think Havoc. I'm not meaning to interrupt you, but I do think Havoc have that better combo. Eric Dopp. I know I'm not trying to disrespect Eric Dopp at all, but if you do, you look at the numbers and what Brian Wilson's done for Havoc. I do think the 1-2 punch that goes to Havoc over the Rivermen. I
The
will
thing
say that.
he never since we got him back, he has not put together 2 bad games. He had that bad game in game 2, which was the first one he had in 4 or 5 starts. And then he rebounded nicely in game 3 and let up 1 goal. And boom, that was it. And he was lights out. So, like I said, it should be a good matchup between those two.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think both these individual talents are very high. Like I said, these are going to be tough goalies to score off. Both confident goalies too. They believe in their abilities. They got good positioning, and they're. It's hard to shake their confidence. Even if you get a goal on them, it seems like they put that away pretty quickly and get back on the game. They rebound pretty quick from giving up a goal. Um, Also, here we got the next question. So, moving on, what are your 3 biggest keys for Havoc to raise the cup in Peoria?
They got to play their game. They cannot sink to the Rivermen level. They're not a physical team. We do have our physical guys, but if this team plays their game, it's their series to win. That's the biggest take. Number 2 don't take dumb penalties. You take dumb penalties against a team like Peoria, you might skate by once or twice, but eventually they'll get it and it'll hurt. So you got to stay out of the box. I know that sounds cliche, but we could get in the box against Roanoke and Fayetteville, and it didn't hurt us. Hell, we scored shorthanded against them.
Mhm.
You're not help against Peoria. You get in the box and they'll out for 2 minutes. So that's key number two, and key number three is as far as the Havoc goes, is it's got to be game one. That if the Havoc take game one, I do think the series switches in their favor. Now, I was reminded that the last time the Havoc and Rivermen played, we lost our one home game and took both games in Peoria to win the cup. So
It's true.
there, but and I just think that these teams are so evenly matched. I think you're going to get 1 to 2 goal games out of this outcome. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 3. Being a Havoc fan, I'm hoping it goes 2 just to get my stress level down and I can enjoy Sunday before we have to leave and come back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we even get an overtime game out of this matchup. I just think it's going to be a really good, matchup. The scary thing is the numbers that come into it. We run the series 5 games to 2 over you guys, and here we're coming into the finals as the 5 seed, and you guys are the 2 seed. So little spooky numbers right there for you. But like I said, we'll find out in 2 days. Like if Havoc take game 1, I think the series shifts to Peoria and it plays a whole different game. I think Peoria plays a lot more physical and tries to bully their way into tying the series up. Which that's where if I'm Havoc, my number 4 key is to get Peoria rattled. When they get rattled, they forget how to play, and you can sneak in a couple more. Peoria is known to just have that game where they just lose their minds and they want to hit and they want to kill and they wind up with 2-3 guys suspended. And when this late in season, you're done for the rest of the year. So
Exactly. Yeah, those are some good keys, and I definitely agree with you. Like I said, if I had to answer that question for the Rivermen, my answer is pretty similar. Like I said, playing Rivermen style hockey, which I think is fast paced and physical, in your face. Don't let the Havoc breathe type of thing. So, here's the thing. Team defense and special teams, I think, is the key pretty much for both teams in this series. The old saying, defense wins championships, good goaltending wins championships. Well, we have that with these two matchups. We got good goalie, check, good team defense, check, guys that can score, check. I mean, all the boxes are checked from both these teams. So, with the numbers the Rivermen have right now, they're operating at 50% in the playoffs in the power play, which is a damn good number. And they gave up 5 in game 2 to beat Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts had 5 power plays. They got no goals on those power plays, and that's what I mean. If you're the Havoc, if you have 5 power plays, you can't skate away with 0 power play goals. You got to cash in on 1 or 2 of those, and that's where I think Thunderbolts failed, especially in game 2, is they could not cash in on that power play. So that's go
that
ahead.
that
Go ahead.
that goes into the saying about discipline hockey. If the Rivermen give up 5 power plays to the Havoc, you're flirting with danger the same way as if the Havoc give you 5. And you guys might skate away because you're playing an 8 seed and they don't have the talent that a 5 seed Havoc does. So I mean that's where you got to watch that, because you can't take that into this series thinking, well, we did it in the last series, we can do it again, because you'll get burned.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think, I'm not trying to disrespect Thunderbolts in any way, but the goal scoring threat is deeper with Havoc than Thunderbolts. So you put them on power plays with players like the Elgstam brothers, Buster Larson. I mean, like I said, the list goes on. These guys on the breakaway or odd man rush or anything like that where they can set up. I mean, you're asking to be scored on. I mean, it's like I said, they're really talented at moving the puck, and like I said, when I see Havoc on a breakaway, they cash in more times than they don't on their goals. So and that's the thing that Rivermen have struggled with is they typically give up that odd man rush at some point in time. You'll see the Rivermen with a bad play turn over the puck, and all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 breakaway straight down, or somebody alone with a good pass up the middle, and it falls on Latinovich to make that big save. And sometimes he can be a little shaky in those moments. I've seen him be strong, in this playoffs, but there's no doubt he can be shaky in those moments at times.
That's the thing with Rivermen. I call it the Ali style of hockey. Is they're built to take a 2-3 puck possession inside their zone and not give up a goal or maybe even two shots. They play such a good um, style of defense with all five skaters that you could zone for 2-3 minutes and then up pops out and they've got a goal on you and you're like, what the hell just happened? We had a couple shots and they get one and it goes in. And they did that against Roanoke in Game 3. It just seemed like the whole first period it was in our zone. Part of the second period, next thing you know, we're up 1-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
We're up like
and, well, like I said, it's when it comes to Havoc and that talent on that side. If you give them any type of advantage, not only will they take it, they'll execute on it, and that's just what you got to be definitely weary of, because that's what I think team defense plays the biggest role in this matchup. Because like what you said, you might be able to make a mistake against the Thunderbolts here and there, but against a team like Havoc in this situation, don't don't give him that chance. Don't give him that opportunity, and you don't have to worry about it then. But we'll go on here to the final question before we wrap things up here. So, what is the Zach Starry storybook ending for the Havoc in the series?
uh, well, what I would love to see happen be a 2-game sweep, like I said. That way, my stress level is not so high, and I can head back into town at an early hour on Sunday. Um, I would say I would love to see, of course, that whole cliche overtime win, we win the cup and stuff like that. But um, honestly, I would just like good hockey. I would like to see a home win. I would say like a 4-2 victory. And then maybe of course, empty net at the end at the 4. 5-3 in Game 2 with an empty net goal making it to 5. I'd like to see everybody get their hand in the net, not just one player dominating. I mean, I would take it all, but I would love to just see um, our boys skating with the championship. And mainly, 2000 when Rivermen won the Kelly Cup, I was in that rink with my dad watching them be in that rink again and be there with my kids and see our team win would just be a total full circle awesomeness. So
That would be. Yeah, which again, this is why I like having you on, because the similarities between us. Like I said, growing up a Riverman fan, it's crazy because we didn't even know each other back then. But me being in that arena at that time with my dad, who also has passed away, and now I'm there with my stepson. This is the first time he's going to get to see a finals matchup, and so to not only see the Rivermen raise the cup on home ice with my boy, but then you add in, the history with my father. And you know what? It's just a good story to see Hags go out on top raising the cup on home ice. I know other fans, including you, would be like, that's fine. We don't need that. you know, he's had a good career. We all know it. We don't need that part.
yes, three for each finger because turtles only got 3 fingers, but I guess that would be a good story to have. But
Well, if turtles have 3 fingers, because of Pensacola, he'll have rings on all 3 fingers, maybe at the end.
okay, cool. You got one for each.
Oh boy. Well, I guess with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Man, I so much appreciate you coming on here and talking about the Havoc with me in this series. I love doing this. I'd love to do it more often, actually. Anything you want to add before we wrap this video up?
Um, I'm just I'll be at the games. Of course, we're sitting just above you, and if anybody there wants to come over and say hi, I know I've made a lot of figures for you guys. You're more than welcome to come over and say hi, and I have my hat trick with me. That's what I call my three kids because it's proof I scored three times. So and just come over and don't be shy. I don't think that all and like I'm pretty open. I used to be one of you guys, so
It's true. He was. He was.
I get to chirp you so much because I know it goes through your guys' heads and the pride and know the history of it. So it makes me a little more skilled to go at it with Rivermen fans. But a lot of love. I definitely love that building. I love that Bruce Sowers was able to save hockey in Peoria. Uh,
Mhm.
Excited that you guys re-signed the lease, stay in Carver Arena because Riverman hockey is nothing without Carver Arena. That building is one of the most beautiful rinks I've ever been a part of. Um, I didn't really like the facelift they gave it, but they left the rink alone, and so I was okay with it. But I'm glad to see Riverman hockey there. As much as we chirp them and much as we chirp the fans, all that stuff, it's they're well needed for the sport.
Yeah, that much we can definitely agree on. All right. Well, again, thanks, Zach, for coming on. And like I said, just my final thoughts are I just like what you said. I want to see good, clean, entertaining hockey. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see any of that. I just want to see good, competitive, exciting, on the edge of your seat hockey. This is so special, not only to the players, but the fans. All those heartbreaks, all those times you see the guys just couldn't get over that hump. This is what makes championships special, right? When when you can actually get when you get into the finals, it's special. But when you see your team raise that cup, it's a feeling you can't describe. You just got to feel it as a fan, and especially being in the arena live when it's happening. It really is. It's a very, very special feeling. That's just really hard to describe. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, me and my oldest Amy went to the championship in 19 against Bulls, and it was just such an electric feeling. And then when they won it, it was something that every fan should get to experience your team winning. And it's great winning it on home ice. But we've got a lot of fans coming to Peoria, so it's going to feel like home ice to us. I think that's a big key too. Is if we stay loud in that building, that takes home ice away from you guys. The other teams you played didn't travel very well. Um, so I mean, I think that's going to be new for Peoria. But yeah, I think that's something like you said. It's something that every fan should get to have. Um, and we'll see. Like I said, whatever happens, there's no hard feelings. We're not here to gloat and chirp if we win. We'll shake your hands. Good game, good series. We're not the mean fans that everyone thinks that the opposing team is. We're very humble. We love other fans. We know this league needs other fans and stuff like that. And if you guys win, same thing. Don't rub salt in the wound. We got a long drive, all that stuff. But just be humble and enjoy it, and just know that we appreciate everything. So
Yeah, well, I would hope Rivermen fans, especially seasoned Rivermen fans, wouldn't do any of that. Like I said, I have so much respect for Havoc. I don't see a scenario where I would rub salt in the wound again, because, like I said, that's a great organization over there with its own great history, and there's no reason to do that. There's no bad blood. It's just a good competitive matchup. So, like I said, I wish the best for both of these squads. It's just, unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast. Somebody's going to get their heart broke. So, we'll find out soon enough which one it is. Is it going to be Rivermen or is it going to be Havoc? Somebody's going home with the cup. Somebody's leaving with heartbreak. So we'll find that out maybe in 2 games, maybe in 3. We'll find out. So with that, I'll wrap it up. And as always, I say keep it Riverman style. That's right. Take it easy. Yeah. Well, take it easy, Zach. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
All right.